Welcome. This video series has been developed for survivors of sexual violence and the people who are supporting them. When someone experiences sexual violence, it is never their fault. No matter what the victim was wearing, what they said, and what actions they took, no one deserves to experience sexual violence and harassment. Survivors deserve compassion, support, and time to heal. We hope this video series helps to guide you through both community-based and legal options available to you. We are glad you have found us. What is sexual violence? How do I know if what I experienced is violence? Sexual violence can take many different forms. A person may experience childhood sexual abuse, sexual assault or harassment one time, or many times, by the same person or by different people, by a stranger or someone you know well. Sexual violence and harassment can happen to anyone, but some people are at higher risk because of their gender, culture, race, health, ability, economic status, and age. This kind of harm can happen anywhere: at home, at work, at the gym, on the street, on the field, in school, and online. If you have experienced sexual assault or harassment or other forms of violence, there are people and resources to support you. There are many ways our brain tries to protect us during times of harm, such as the flight, fight, freeze, and fawn responses. Imagine coming across a wild animal in nature. Animals sometimes run away, sometimes attack, but often freeze to try and blend into their surroundings. This is a natural and common reaction to a threat. Survivors of sexual violence can experience a similar phenomenon during times of harm. Sometimes people will ask a survivor, "Why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you just run?" The answer is that most often, that's not how the brain works during traumatic events. There is no right way to respond to experiencing violence. There is only your way. Service providers are often asked, "Is what I experienced sexual assault?" That's a really hard question to answer, as we don't want to label your experience for you, but we can certainly provide you with a clearer understanding of how we define sexual violence and consent. Consent is the clear permission someone gives to another person. You can change your consent at any time. You can choose to give it, and you can choose to withdraw it. When someone experiences sexual violence and harassment, they did not give or withdrew sexual consent. Their rights were ignored. This harm is not about sex. It is about having power or control over another person. Even when you are in the middle of a consensual experience, a person cannot assume you want the act to continue. They must receive your consent. Whether it's an act of sexual harassment on the street or an act of marital rape, they have an important factor in common. Someone is intentionally harming by not seeking or receiving consent. In about a quarter of sexual assaults reported at the hospital, alcohol or drugs, including prescription or over-the-counter medications, are involved. It is never a survivor's fault, including if you are intoxicated. We sometimes find that when alcohol or drugs have been used during a sexual assault, a survivor may call their experience a misunderstanding or miscommunication of consent instead of a sexual assault. You have the right to define your experience your way, but in the case of an alcohol or drug-facilitated sexual assault, or if you're unsure, we recommend that you go to your local hospital emergency department. Ask to see the Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence Nurse Examiner, or to be transferred to your nearest program if it's unavailable locally. Some survivors may have memory loss or blackout and may require medical treatment. Your medical health and well-being is important. Medical services for survivors of sexual violence.
Hi, my name's Karen Giles. I'm one of the sexual assault domestic violence nurse examiners here in Peterborough. I have special training to support victims of sexual or domestic violence. We have a team of specially trained nurses who are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That means we have time to spend with you, we're not rushed, and your needs are our priority. We're able to provide your medical care, and if we need access to the emergency doctor or a nurse practitioner, we can do that during your visit. Our service is located at Peterborough Regional Health Centre, and we provide this support to victims of the 4 counties of Peterborough, City of Kawartha Lakes, Haliburton, and Northumberland. You can call the program in advance of your arrival at 705-743-2121 extension 0 and ask for the sexual assault domestic violence nurse on call. First, you will need to go to the emergency department of the Peterborough Regional Health Centre. When you arrive at the emergency room, ask to see the sexual assault domestic violence nurse. You don't have to tell your whole story, but the triage nurse will ask what medications you're on and take your temperature and blood pressure. You'll be offered a private space, and they will contact the nurse examiner on call, who will come to see you within a short period of time. We support victims of all genders and sexual orientations. When you come to see us, we provide all the possible options for health care and allow you to choose which options are best for you. This visit is confidential and no one is notified unless there are children at risk of harm. We do not report to the police unless you ask us to. Your options include emergency medical care, crisis counseling support, emergency contraception, STI testing or treatment, forensic evidence collection and documentation, which may also include photo documentation. Our program also includes ongoing counseling by specially trained social workers. Everything is free, everything is confidential, everything is your choice. Timing is very important. If you suspect you were sexually assaulted, come to the hospital as soon as possible. It is best if you have not showered and have your clothing from the time you were harmed, but it is okay if you have showered. We can support you in both cases. Some medications are only available in the first 72 hours after the assault. If you're unable to visit us in the first 72 hours, we are still able to collect some forensic evidence up to 12 days post-assault. Even if you decide not to collect evidence, there is medical treatment available to you. Sometimes we find victims question whether it was their fault, what they could have done to prevent this, or if this was really a sexual assault. It's never your fault. If you're not sure, come and talk to us. We're here to help. We're not here to judge. We also offer a special program for children who have experienced sexual abuse. Please see the link on this website for more details.
Reporting sexual violence and harassment to police services. If you're in an emergency situation and require police right away, call 911 from any phone nearest to you. You may even do this from a mobile phone that no longer has any calling minutes left. If you decide to report a sexual assault or harassment incident to the police, we're here to support you in navigating the criminal justice system, whether the harm happened locally or in another area. There is no statute of limitations for reporting a sexual offense. Whether it happened 2 weeks ago or 20 years ago, you can still file a report. We will take your complaint seriously, with respect, and conduct a full and complete investigation. After the investigation, you may choose to proceed with criminal charges, have the person formally warned about their behavior, or have the incident documented for tracking purposes. We want you to have as much choice as possible. There are several ways to file a report. You can call the police service directly, and you'll be connected with the dispatch service. Now, our dispatchers have all received special training on how to receive reports of sexual assault, domestic violence, or harassment. They will only ask you a few questions like your name, where you live, your phone number, who the other person or persons involved were if you know, and when and where the incident took place. The dispatcher will take this information and have a uniformed officer call you to schedule a time to receive your report. If you choose to begin the reporting process at the police station, you'll be directed to call the dispatch service. Peterborough Police Service and Peterborough County OPP have public access phones if you don't have a cell phone. We encourage you to report to us in the way that feels best. Many victims choose to bring a support person with them, such as a friend or an advocate from the Sexual Assault Center, and they stay with them while they wait for a police officer to meet with you. We understand that this process can be very difficult. Therefore, having someone come with you may be helpful. When you decide to make a report to the police, you can request to speak to either a male or female officer. You may report to one or more officers during your visit. Each one will introduce themselves and explain their role in supporting you through the reporting process. You may be asked to repeat parts of your experience to different officers, but we will try to keep this at a minimum. You will also be connected to victim services to provide additional support in this process.
Hi, I'm Detective O'Brien, and I often speak with people who have reported sexual violence. Your statement will provide the police with an account of what has happened to you, where this happened, when it happened, and who it involved. You may not have all the answers to these questions, and that's okay. We understand that your memory may be affected by several factors. You may not know exactly what you want to do about the harm you experienced. That's okay too. Our role during your initial report is just to talk to you about your options and give you time to make the best decision for you. If you decide to make an official statement after making the initial report to us, we will go together to an interview room with video equipment. Learning from you about the harm you experienced may lead us to discuss things with you like sexual assault and domestic violence medical services at the hospital, medical consent forms, consent to search or extract phone messages or pictures, speaking to other witnesses, extracting video surveillance, writing warrants to search or retrieve physical evidence, and other possible evidence collection. All of these procedures may take some time, and we will do our best to let you know the progress of the investigation. Police will only collect medical information related to this incident of harm. We will not seek other medical records for unrelated matters. Your privacy will be respected and protected. If you choose to press charges, we'll contact the Crown Attorney's Office for further consultation. If the Crown Attorney's Office proceeds with the charges, you will be connected with the Victim Witness Assistance Program and given information of the accused's first court appearance and any conditions they may be placed under to keep you safe. In all cases, there will be a condition that the accused person cannot contact you while the criminal case is ongoing. We understand that it is possible that you may encounter this person in your community and encourage you to make contact with the police if you feel threatened or harassed. If police proceed with criminal charges, the person who harmed you may choose not to give a statement. The police officer supporting you will help you understand the rights of a suspect. Ultimately, the choice is yours if you would like to have police assistance when you have experienced harm. Our role is to support your safety and the safety of those around you, and we are here to answer your questions to help you determine the best way to move forward. You may choose to report now or at any point in the future, and whatever choice you make, we will be here to help.
Victim services. There are 3 divisions of victim services in the area, and each plays an important part in your support. The first is affiliated with Peterborough Police, serving the city of Peterborough, town of Lakefield, and Cavan Monaghan. Whether or not you choose to report a crime to the police, this local victim services will offer you confidential support and information about your choices, safety options, and referrals to other agencies in your community. Staff have specialized training in trauma and crisis response, as well as having expertise in the criminal justice process. You can choose to speak confidentially with them if you have questions about the court process or need to talk further after your statement. The staff is available on weekdays, and you can make an appointment to discuss your options even before making a police report. Victim services will not judge you. They are approachable and have a good understanding of what a victim may need to feel supported in a time like this. Again, anything you discuss with them remains confidential. You may choose to report now or in the next few days, and whatever choice you make, we'll be here to help. If you're waiting for a police officer to contact you, You may want to take the time to reflect on the details that are important to you and connect with victim services or another support person to be with you during this process. When you need access to services or financial aid that is beyond the scope of this local victim services, you will be referred to the regional victim services of Peterborough and Northumberland counties. Regional victim services.
Hi, I'm Leslie with Victim Services of Peterborough and Northumberland. We have an office located at both Coburg OPP and Peterborough OPP. We treat each person as a unique individual with their own history and personal experiences. Our program has been designed to respond to all of the needs of victims, including Indigenous peoples, people who are experiencing sex trafficking, and those from culturally diverse communities. In addition to helping you access the justice system, healthcare system, and providing referrals to community service providers, Victim Services of Peterborough and Northumberland has access to several programs that provide enhanced support for survivors of sexual assault. These include, but are not limited to, partnerships with community service providers, access to pre-programmed cell phones, access to private counseling, self-defense courses, and safety planning. We believe in giving you thorough information that empowers you to make the choices that meet your needs. We treat you with respect with timely responses to ensure your voice is heard and you feel included in all decision making. We provide support before, throughout, and after involvement with the criminal justice system. Sexual assault is an underreported crime, and survivors may need information and support when deciding to go to police or to hospital. In all phases of the support process, one of the most important things we can do is give the survivor a chance to express their own feelings, and we respect those feelings. For many survivors, the lack of opportunity to talk about the assault has significantly affected their lives. Responding to someone with empathy and respect may be the first step in enabling them to rebuild their faith in others and, most importantly, in themselves.
Victim Witness Assistance Program and Crown Attorney.
The criminal justice system can be confusing and intimidating. Many people have little experience with or knowledge of the system. As a survivor of sexual assault, dealing with the impact of the crime, the thought of being involved in the criminal justice system may be overwhelming. I'm Kathy Caverly from the Ministry of Attorney General's Victim Witness Assistance Program, also referred to as VWAP. One of the primary goals of VWAP is to enhance your understanding of and participation in the criminal court process. Our staff will let you know about your rights and help to ensure that they are upheld. VWAP services begin once criminal charges have been laid and continue until the court case is over. Victim Witness Assistance Program staff offer a variety of services to survivors of sexual violence, which includes emotional support, updates and information about your case, advocacy on your behalf, and helping you to communicate information to other justice personnel, such as the Crown Attorney and the police. We will check in with you about your needs, including any safety concerns, and connect you with community agencies and services that can assist you. Our staff can also guide you through writing a victim impact statement and applying for compensation through the Criminal Injuries Compensation Board. If your case proceeds to a trial, VWAP will explain the process and answer your questions about the criminal justice system, courtroom procedures, and your role in court. We will arrange for you to meet with the Crown Attorney prior to court to prepare you to testify. At our court preparation meeting, we will discuss what to expect in court, provide a tour of the courtroom, and explain all the roles of court staff. VWAP will also advocate on your behalf for courtroom needs, including testimonial aids, disability accommodations, and language needs. On the day of trial, our program will provide you with court support and offer a secure waiting area in the courthouse for you. If you are a survivor of sexual assault going through the criminal court process, we encourage you to reach out to our program.
My name is Lisa Wanamaker, and I'm a Crown Attorney for the Province of Ontario, working in Peterborough County. The Crown Attorney represents the public and is not the victim's lawyer, but we do our very best to accommodate your needs and wishes as a witness during a trial. I will also talk to you about your options if you would like to access your own lawyer. When someone reports a crime like sexual assault to the police do an investigation, and if there is evidence to meet the requirements of the Canadian Criminal Code, charges will be laid. The Crown Attorney's Office will be contacted to take on the file. It is important to note that the accused perpetrator may be able to access bail, depending on the charges, and live in the community during the process of the trial. This may feel very stressful for you as a victim and witness, and it is important to speak with police and victim services about any safety concerns. Sometimes in sexual assault trials, there will be a preliminary hearing before a trial. The entire case may take up to 2 or more years. Before a preliminary hearing and trial, the Crown Attorney's Office will contact you and sit down to talk about the police report and video statement. The Victim Witness Assistance Program will also support you before the preliminary hearing and trial and in the courtroom. You will be offered a media ban on your name or image being published during and after a trial. It is one way in which we offer to protect your privacy. When testifying against the accused, there are a number of testimonial aids that may be available, including having a support person from Victim Witness Assistance Program, using the video statement to police as evidence, and testifying outside of the courtroom if needed. You may choose to use these aids if there are safety concerns, intimidation by the accused, or if the victim witness is a child. The disclosed report of sexual assault will be given to the accused defense lawyer and will be used in court, but counseling reports and other therapeutic records are not given to the defense team unless they make a special request. If this happens, the Crown Attorney will assist you in getting a lawyer to represent you, free of charge. In the courtroom, any other sexual experience, including with the accused, is not allowed to be admitted into court unless the defense lawyer meets a very high bar for admission of the evidence. In most cases, you will not be asked or cross-examined about previous sexual experience. Our office will consult with you throughout the process, and we make every attempt to inform you of all major decisions during the trial.
Counseling services for survivors of sexual violence and harassment.
Hello, my name is Lisa Clark, and I'm from the Kawartha Sexual Assault Center. Survivors of sexual violence and relationship or domestic violence have access to several free options for counseling services, including individual and group support. Survivors of sexual and gender-based violence over the age of 16 can access counseling services through the Kawartha Sexual Assault Center, a Peterborough Family Health Team, Neech Kwindida Anishinaabe Services Circle, and the Healing from Within program for male survivors at the John Howard Society. Counseling services for women survivors of sexual and relationship violence are also available at the Women's Health Center at Peterborough Regional Health Center, Community Counseling and Resource Center, and through the YWCA Peterborough Haliburton. Survivors can drop into the START program at the YWCA Peterborough on Mondays to begin wraparound services for relationship violence. Fleming College and Trent University also have counseling and campus security staff who are connected to community services and will support safety planning, counseling for sexual violence and harassment, and housing support. Children and youth counseling programs are available at Peterborough Youth Services, Kinark Child and Family Services, Neech Kwindida Anishinaabe Services Circle, the Family and Youth Clinic at Peterborough Regional Health Center, and other services may be available for child survivors of sexual abuse through the Kawartha Haliburton Children's Aid Society. The Kawartha Sexual Assault Center also has a program for females aged 13 to 18 who have experienced sexual trauma or family violence.
If reporting a crime to the police or accessing victim services, survivors may be eligible for counseling services through private counseling programs. The survivor may also want to access private counseling services through their workplace health insurance or employee assistance program. How to respond to a survivor of sexual violence, harassment, or partner violence. When supporting someone who is a survivor of sexual violence, harassment, or relationship violence, it is very important to respond with empathy. A survivor has come to you to validate their experience of harm, and that means they trust you. Their personal safety and healing will be impacted by your response. Based on our experience and feedback from survivors themselves, we recommend some helpful things to say if someone has experienced trauma and violence. Thank you for trusting me. I'm so sorry this has happened. I believe you. How can I help you right now? You are not alone, and we can connect you to people who can help. It is important to understand your obligations regarding confidentiality, especially when a child or youth under 16 years old trusts you with their experience. If you have questions, you are invited to call the Kawartha Sexual Assault Center or the Kawartha Halliburton Children's Aid Society for a confidential consultation. You may or may not be an expert in safety planning or responding to sexual violence victims, but you can be very compassionate. Emphasize that they are doing the right thing by sharing their experience with you, that they are demonstrating incredible strength, and that they are never to blame for the violence they experienced.